Hello there, Master Key's back with some Borderlands 3 for you today, of course. And today we're going to go over my Moze build that I have been using in Borderlands 3, and it's really fun. We'll see if we can get through it quickly. Build videos are notoriously long because we explain a lot to try and give you the most detail of how it works and why it works, but we'll see if we can tear through it. So item setup. Weaponry doesn't really matter for this particular build. Things that benefit from this build are anything that does splash damage. So the Flakka does splash damage, and it's very strong. The Flakka in this game, don't sleep on it. If you have a build like this where your primarily focus is doing splash damage, Flakka is insane. Dangerous though, because you can kill yourself very quickly. That's it. As far as the guns I have equipped there, that's the only thing that really benefits. The primary goal of this build is self-sustaining, which means you're healing yourself. Self-fulfilling as far as your ammunition goes, because it will regenerate your ammo when you're doing damage to an enemy, and it will also reduce your cooldown rate of your action skill. So that's the primary focus of this build. It is a grenade build that uses shock splash damage to great effect. So if that's interesting, stick around. We use a transformer shield for this. So we have converts 100% of shock damage into shields. So this is a returning shield from previous Borderlands, and this synergizes with the build because what we're using is a Stormfront. Stormfront is a grenade that does basically 100% electric splash damage. I have a longbow version, which means it will teleport to the target. You can get different versions of them, like a rubberized or etc., or a bouncing sort of style. You don't have to have a longbow one. I like the longbow one for the primary reason that somebody sent it to me and I didn't have to farm one. So that's why I like the longbow version, because it's the only one I have. But anyway, you could probably find one that was better. I believe that Baru actually has a build that's very similar, and he uses a recursive hex grenade, which I think he was saying he believes does better damage. I haven't been able to test that personally, but the Stormfront setup that I use right now I'm really happy with. The class mod that we use is Bloodsucking Blessed Blastmaster. How point distribution works in class mods in Borderlands 3 is you have 5 bonus points that can be spread across a fixed set of skill rolls on your class mod. So you'll see this one has +3 in one skill and +2 in another. You can get different variations where it could be +4 in one skill, +1 in another. I haven't seen it on a legendary, but it does exist on purple class mods where you can get +5 in one skill. So you can get up to 10 points in certain skills by using a purple class mod. But this one is a little old now. It's 43. I haven't found a better one yet. The skill distribution is okay. It could be better, but it still works with what I have at the moment. As far as my relic goes, I need to find a relic that synergizes better with the build. I really haven't had much luck with getting relics to drop. This is just what I'm using at the moment. It is, I want to say, like just a raw PvE relic where you get bonus cash, bonus ammo, bonus health on pickups, and you get a singularity effect when you do the slam, which I kind of do all the time, even though it doesn't really do anything, but it sounds cool and it looks cool. But I don't have anything that really synergizes in the relic slot. The build would be even better if you had something that gave you bonus splash damage area or bonus splash damage. If you had something that just gave you flat bonuses to grenade damage, anything like that would be better than what I'm currently using. But unfortunately, I don't have anything to show you there. Let's get into the skill build. So the green tree, we have it completely empty. Nothing in the green tree. The build is primarily focused around the blue tree here. Let's get into it. So the primary skills I'll try and focus on and say this is what the build compromises of. Everything else is up to your own interpretation, how you play the game. If you want to copy the build one for one, it's easy to go and respec. If you have the gear as well, you can go and respec at Sanctuary or wherever and then go and test the build out. Otherwise, I'll tell you what the primary skills are for this particular build, and then you can build out around that. So we'll go over my build straight away. So what I have running right now, Grizzled, which is a kill skill. Killing an enemy reduces Mo's remaining action skill cooldown time. Skill has diminishing returns. We used to use this one in the build, but the problem with this is, so this one is fire in the Skag Den. Whenever Moze deals splash damage, she deals bonus incendiary damage. And I thought, wow, this build is primarily splash damage. Let's get that. But the problem with it is, because you're doing bonus incendiary damage on splash, it means your shock nades will set you on fire a lot. There's another build you could go down where that'd be beneficial, but for this build it's detrimental because it means that you kind of negate the whole point of running a transformer. The whole point of running the transformer shield is if you get hit by your own nades, it converts the shock of that nade into shields. But if you're setting yourself on fire with your own grenades, you've completely negated that effect. So that's why we pulled the skills, the points out of that. So we're running Grizzled instead. This is where we get into the meat of the build and why it works and how it works. So this particular skill is Means of Destruction. Whenever Moze deals splash damage, there is a chance to add ammo to her currently equipped weapons magazine with a smaller chance to return a grenade. So that means that anything that does splash damage, so if you use a flacker that does splash damage when you shoot it, there's a chance that it will regenerate ammunition for you. And if you're doing splash damage with a grenade or a splash damage in general, you have a chance there to regenerate a grenade there at 6% as well. Now, 6% seems very, very low. So if you think about 6% as a whole, it's like, wow, well, if I hit something, there's a 6% chance I'll get a grenade back. Sounds super low. But you're using grenades that have multiple little MIRVs, which means they split into multiple parts. And those multiple parts all chain to enemies, and they all have a DPS effect, which means they're ticking second by second by second by second. Each one of those counts as splash damage. So you start to see how it becomes very, very strong, where you have multiple instances of that 6% potentially happening. So to break it down, this pretty much guarantees if you throw a nade and you hit someone with it, you'll get that grenade back. Very, very strong. Very, very strong. So that is a necessary skill in the build. Maxed out, this one we have Tall Cross Promotion. We have all points in this. All splash damage dealt by Moze has a chance to double in size. Synergizes really well with this because if it does proc and you get double splash damage radius, it means that the grenade area of effect is larger, more chance to chain to more people. More chance to chain to more people means more chance to proc that 6%. So you see how they work together in the hopes that it will regenerate your nade. Another one that's a necessity in this one is Pull the Holy Pin. So this one, Moze's grenades have a chance to score a critical hit, dealing greatly increased damage. So this one means that instead of your nade just doing its regular damage, now it has a 50% chance that it will crit. So a grenade like a Stormfront that has multiple arc points that is hitting multiple enemies, if that is critting, it is melting. It is doing huge damage. It says there that sources of critical hit damage do not affect grenade critical hits. So I think that means you can't get a relic or anything that will give you a crit bonus. I think it's just a fixed critical multiplier in the nade. So I don't think you can stack that with any other things that give you crit bonus. But this is an absolute necessity. And you can see there that we have points from the class mod that's affecting that as well to get to the 50%. This is your self-sustain skill. So whenever Moze damages an enemy with a thrown grenade, for every enemy hit, she restores a portion of her missing health. We don't have it maxed out because we have the class mod there that's giving us 7. So it means that if we throw a nade down and it hits somebody, it'll give us 28% of our missing health per enemy it hits. That's a key where you want to use a nade that either hits multiple times or has multiple arc chains like the Stormfront does, because if it hits multiple people, it's constantly healing you. So we have constant health regeneration, we have ammunition regeneration, and we have monstrous damage. So they are the primary skills I'd say that you want to build around. So those are the ones that if you just want to be a walking grenade shocking death machine, that's what you want. So we'll go further down. We have To the last, which is Moze, gains the ability to throw grenades in fight for your life. Super handy because, like I said, this is a grenade build. So if you can throw grenades when you're in fight for your life, chances are you are going to get back up because it does massive damage. So that's a really nice one to have. This one, if you want to go further down into this tree, not a necessity. If you wanted to spec into something else in another tree, feel free. But what we have is explosive punctuation, which means that when we deal splash damage, our action skill cooldown rate is briefly increased. So with the points we have in it now, it means that when we're throwing grenades at people, it's giving us a 20% action cooldown rate as well. So to break it down, when we throw a grenade at someone, it regenerates the grenade. It has a chance to do double the splash damage size. So the area of denial or area of effect that it does has a chance to double. We also heal ourselves when we throw the grenade. So it heals us at the same time. So you can see that it's fairly ridiculous. It's fairly ridiculous. And if we go down to the last skill, the Capstone, I really like this one because I like precision weapons. So I use things like the Duck or Jacob snipers. And this one's really nice because it gives you a secondary explosion that can proc with a 20% chance. That'll do 75% of the gun damage on like an explosion, which is really nice. So that is our blue tree. That's where this build primarily focuses. So if you just wanted to mess around with the grenade build, you could just do the primary skills, which are these that I just hover over, just those. And then you can build however you want. But we'll go into it further and we'll show you what our whole build is. So the next points we have are in the orange tree. We start up here. While our shields are active, we gain damage reduction and gun damage. We have Drowning in Brass. For each stack of Drowning in Brass, Moze's fire rate is reduced, but gun damage is increased for both her and her allies. So this would be a great one if you were mobbing or doing some of the challenge arenas with friends. We get plus 20% gun damage per stack. We lose minus 2% fire rate per stack, and we have a max stack of 3 without a max stack of 3 that we can have. Drowning in Brass duration is 15 seconds. I think the stacks actually have individual cooldowns, I think, on these. I think. I'll have to check. Max Drowning Brass. There's one of the skills where every kill doesn't give you a resetting timer. I don't know if it's this one. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Vladov Ingenuity. So this one is our maximum shield is increased and she gains resistance to shock damage. Max shield plus 30%. Shock damage resistance is plus 47%. Then we go down, we skip a couple, and we're into behind the Iron Curtain. Our shield recharge delay is reduced and her shield recharge rate is increased. And then we have Desperate Measures. Our gun damage is up to 50% more, depending on how low our health is, which can be great as like a get out of jail sort of free card. When you're just about to die, you get a massive bump to your weapon damage. And then the last one we have there is whenever we score a critical hit, or a critical kill, I should say. Whenever we score a critical kill, her shields immediately begin to recharge. It's early in the morning, man. I'm not quite awake yet, but we're getting through it. But that's it. That's the build I'm using. The mech skills, neither here nor there. You can mess around with them. The mech you own, like we joke when I stream. I say the mech is the ambulance. You can do so much more damage with Moze than you can with the mech late game. The mech doesn't scale very well. So in late game stuff, the mech is like at the ambulance. So if you're just about to die, let's say you have 200 health and you've got a dot on you, jump in the mech. Jump in the mech, dot gets negated, jump out of the mech, go fight again. So we use the mech as an ambulance and as an escape card. But anyway, that's the build. That's the gear. Let's see if I can just go in here and show you what it does. So the thing to pay attention to, if you look down the bottom right of the screen, you'll see our grenade count. So let's just go up here. I think, is this maxed out? There, so we have 10. We're carrying 10 grenades. So look at that number when I start throwing nades, and you'll see that number start going up and down, because it's regenerating itself. So let's just go in here and quickly show.
Vault Hunter, I thought you might show up sooner or later. So naughty or special. So curious. The Vault of Vaults has been opened.
Looking like a dude out of Warframe, man, I'll tell you what.
Prove your worth, and I will reveal why the masters made me wait for you.
Alright, let's see. Let's see if this fails to demonstrate, but let's see where we go. So we chuck a nade down. Nade's regenerated. Chuck another nade down. Oh, that one's already regenerated. Let's chuck another nade down. Let's chuck another nade down. Let's chuck another nade down. Let's chuck another. You see what I mean? Just keep throwing them, man. Oh, badass. Chuck a nade at him. Chuck a nade at him. Chuck a nade at him. Just walk around, crouch, walk a little bit. Give me your ear. Come down here, man. Give me a face. Chuck this. Okay, this is an example, so we should be able to get. Oh, he's a bit strong. We should be able to get a fight for our life kill with the nades. So there we are. We're just using nades. We haven't even shot a gun yet. So this guy's a hardened tink tank. Let's just throw nades at him constantly. How do you like the shotgun? So you can see that's the build. The build is just grenades, man. It is crazy. So it constantly regens grenades. It constantly regens health. It constantly gives you a cooldown for your action skill. Need I go on? You can see what it does. It is ridiculous. I should specify that we're playing on normal mode and we're playing on Mayhem 1 at the moment, so we're not actually on Mayhem 3, but the build works pretty much the same in all modes. But that's it, man. A few people asked about the build I was using on Moze in the stream. A few people asked on Twitter. I thought, hey, I could probably make a video that would explain it much better than a little bit of text that said, yeah, just do this. So there you are, man. Have some fun. Moze, signing out from whatever this is. Now I'm on fire. Let's go over here. Let's go over here. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you appreciate it. Any questions, ask in the chat. If you have any suggestions on a relic that you could use for this, if you have a relic that you think would synergize well, give me a suggestion on a relic I could try and hunt down. If it was something that did bonus shock damage, something that did bonus grenade damage. My alarm's ringing again. I recorded the same video at the same time the other day. Yeah, if you had a relic that did bonus shock damage, bonus splash damage radius, or bonus splash damage, anything like that, make a suggestion and I'll see whether I can set up the build a little better. Anyway, I'm out of here. Thank you for watching. Till the next video. We'll see you later.